Why did white people choose Africans? Several reasons. We were a very humanitarian people, which means we were gullible. We did not understand the European or what he was up to. As a result of that, some African kings and kingdoms were complicit in the transatlantic slave trade. They had no idea that slavery to the white man was perpetual, eternal, dehumanizing. He had no idea. Okay? They also chose us because they could get away with it. My 4-year-old was diagnosed at 3 with an intellectual no way. I didn't just read that. If I was your woman, FDMG would be open. You have a big vision. I hope you haven't bitten off more than you can chew. First of all, let me explain something to you. I already have my queens. Second of all, I am a Leo. I am a son of the sun. I am a pan-africanist. If Marcus Garvey's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, if Emperor Menelik II's vision wasn't too big for his soldiers, if Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, if Robert Sobukwe's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, if Dedan Kamafi's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, if El Hajj Malik El Shabaz's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, if Julius Niere's vision wasn't too big for his shoulders, then who are you to tell me that the vision of an intellectually emancipated race of children is too big for my vision? My beautiful African queen from Las Vegas, I beg your pardon. Let me see what else we got. I'm not going to call it Chirac because that's an insult. Black Chicago is a second home to me. I will not call it Chirac. I will call it Chicago. Do you know the first ever Pan-African conference held on the planet Earth was held in Chicago? Let me say it again. Do you know the first ever Pan-African conference held in the world was held in Chicago? Emmett Till, Fred Hampton, Ida B. Wells. Chicago is going to work it out. Chicago is going to work it out. I promise you, Chicago is going to work it out. How do we stop black on black crime? Brother Cobain, thanks for the $10 donation. Black on black crime. Practical education. Practical employment. African-centered mental health treatment. Until we educate our own, violence won't stop. Until we employ our own, violence won't stop. Until we treat our own spiritually and psychologically, violence won't stop. Period. Black on black crime does not stop until we educate our own children, employ our own children, and treat our own people. Period. Brother Robert, thank you for your $10. After slavery, black people were successful in America. Yes, they were, Brother Robert. They were successful. They were also being lynched about 7 a week, too. But with that being said, Brother Rob, we were successful because we were forced to do for ourselves. Let me say it again, Brother Robert. We were successful from 1865 until 1965. We were successful from 1865 until 1965. We were successful from 1865 to 1965 because we were forced to do for ourselves. But ever since that civil rights bill, don't blame the government. Don't blame Dr. King, one of my heroes. Rest in peace. Don't blame. Blame yourself. Nobody's stopping you from building a black school. Nobody's stopping you from building a black bank. Nobody's stopping you from building a black supermarket. Nobody's stopping you from building a black hospital. Nobody's stopping you from building a black community. Okay? You hate yourself and you love white folks. There would have never been a Black Wall Street if integration would have started as soon as slavery ended. There would have never been a Black Wall Street if integration started as soon as slavery ended. Yes, I saw the brother from Pennsylvania found hanging in a park. There needs to be a protest and a march. Killer Mike is my guy. That's my brother, Killer Mike. Kieran, why did white people choose Africans? Several reasons. We were a very humanitarian people, which means we were gullible. We did not understand the European or what he was up to. As a result of that, some African kings and kingdoms were complicit in the transatlantic slave trade. They had no idea that slavery to the white man was perpetual, eternal, dehumanizing. He had no idea. Okay? They also chose us because they could get away with it. They chose us because they could get away with it. They also chose us because we were biologically stronger than the other groups. We were biologically stronger than the other groups. The Native Americans did not succeed well, not just because they were able to run away because they knew the land, but biologically they were not able to tolerate some of the diseases that the white man brought to them. We were able to tolerate the white man's diseases. We were biologically stronger and thus more successful under the lash. But make no mistake, we perished as well. Make no mistake, we perished as well. And of course, racism gave birth to a social, religious, psychological, political theory that said black people were inhumane, that we were animals, we were less than, we were devils. And that gave justification to the religious society in which the white man belonged to, that said we could be enslaved. But I'm going to give you a revolutionary pan-Africanist answer. Why did the white man enslave us? Because we let him. That's the revolutionary. That's the Garveyite answer. We let them. And why is that the Garveyite answer? Because from a Pan-African perspective, all questions, all circumstances, all conditions, all struggles are evaluated based on a power perspective and a power dynamic and a power assessment. I don't want to hear about they're Christians. I don't want to hear about love your enemy. I don't want to hear about send them to college. I don't want to hear about vote for another president. I don't want to hear about another protest. The question is simple. How much power do we have to apply against police brutality? How much power can we apply against Joe Biden? How much power can we apply to stop black on black crime? Everything must be judged from the power perspective. And the problem with us is we never use the power perspective to evaluate our problems. We want to use the religious perspective, the voting perspective, the marching perspective, the integrationist perspective. To hell with that. The power perspective. Cash App. Jaden, $1. $10, Jaden. Can't ask the question. $1. I appreciate the $1 donation, but that don't get you no question. Make America great again. Back to Wall Street. Make Black America great again. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me see if I get any more parents out there. We spent the hour on. Let me see any more parents. My 4-year-old was diagnosed at 3 with an intellectual no way. No way. I didn't just read that. I didn't just read that. Now, the only exception to that, if the child had brain damage or birth defects. Brain damage or birth defects. Now, did your child have brain damage or birth defect? Because I'm reading 213 area code right now. I don't know what city that is. 213 area code. I don't know what city that is. My 4-year-old daughter was diagnosed at 3 with intellectual disability, language disorder, social deficit, short attention span, diagnosed at 2 with epilepsy. Epilepsy is medical, so quite possibly, although that's kind of young. She hadn't started school, but they're wanting to place her in special ed. She says one plural word, but isn't quite putting sentences together. She has an average of 15 to 20 seizures in a month. So she definitely has a health impairment. Definitely will need special ed for health impairment. She's a bit delayed. School district wants her to have an early start. Anything I should do by mentioning for an IEP? She's 4. What services do they want to give her? That's the question. Forget the labels. What services are they going to give your child? Or do they just want to load up on labels to get paid? She clearly has a disability. She has a health impairment for epilepsy. That's clear. Epilepsy does affect parts of the brain. That's clear. Okay? But I'm not seeing no conclusive proof that she can't learn. I'm not seeing no conclusive proof that she can't learn. She clearly has a language delay, but are we sure she can't learn? See, we got to be careful. I would get her early intervention. I would. But I want to find out what the services are. I would not let them label my daughter as autistic because they can't know at that age. And they're not labeling her as intellectually disabled because they can't know at that age. So yes, you can go for the service. Yes, you can get the IEP. Yes, you can do early intervention. But I'm not letting them label my child as autistic and retarded at 2. Hell no. Not happening. Health impairment for epilepsy? Yes. Language disorder? Yes. Speech and language? Yes. Retarded and autistic at 4? Excuse me, she's 4. Nah, not mine. No. We don't know enough yet. We don't know enough yet. Speech therapy, physical therapy, yes. Remember, you can have a whole bunch of physical disabilities and not be retarded. You can have a whole bunch of physical disabilities and not be intellectually disabled. You can have a whole bunch of physical disabilities and not be impaired. You mentioned coaching is needed for my wife. Do you offer that? Yes. Shoot me a text. We can schedule life coaching. We can schedule relationship coaching, pre-marriage coaching, consultation for the child. She was already diagnosed. Lord have mercy. That means you need to schedule a consultation with me to go over the evaluations. Wendy in Massachusetts. Dr. Umar, we had a consultation with you last year. My 2-year-old, now 3, autistic. She's aged out of early intervention at 3. Huh? No, early intervention goes until kindergarten, sweetheart. You don't age out of special ed starts at 3. You can't age out at 3. Special ed, she probably aged out of whatever program she was at 3, but not early intervention. Early intervention starts at 3. Has done the evaluation for the IEP. I decided to let her attend a local autism center, not public school, because I felt she was not ready. I'm going to let her get reevaluated before she enters public school since she's been getting ABA. She's been excelling in speech. Okay. How do you test out a special ed? You just ask for an evaluation. You test out a special ed the same way you test in a special ed. You test out a special ed the same way you test into special ed. Just ask for an evaluation. A parent can request an evaluation every year, believe it or not. If the child is already in special ed, they must be reevaluated every 3 years. If they are intellectually disabled, they must be evaluated every 2 years.